Meet Sherri Papini, the woman America dubbed the Supermom. But behind that perfect smile lay a dark secret that weaponized an entire nation's sympathy. This isn't a story about a kidnapping, it's the story of the hoax of the century. The quiet streets of Redding, California, a city known for its scenic trails and quiet suburbs. But on the afternoon of November 2nd, 2016, that peace was about to be shattered forever. Sherri Papini, a 34-year-old mother of two, known to her neighbors as a devoted supermom, stepped out of her house for her routine afternoon jog. She was wearing a pink running shirt, her phone in hand and earbuds in, lost in her music. Keith Papini returns home. It was around 5:01 p.m. Keith Papini, Sherri's husband, returned home from work, expecting to see his wife and kids. Instead, he was met with a deafening silence. He assumed Sherri was just running late picking up the kids from daycare. But when he called the daycare center, his heart sank. They told him Sherri never showed up. Panic set in. Sherri wasn't the kind of mother who would ever forget her children. Keith tried calling and texting her repeatedly, but there was no answer. The discovery on the roadside. Keith opened the Find My iPhone app. The GPS pinged a location just a mile from their home, at the corner of Old Oregon Trail and Sunrise Drive. Keith rushed to the spot as dusk began to fall. There, in the tall grass by the roadside, he found Sherri's phone. The earbud wires were neatly wrapped around the device, but when Keith picked it up, he went cold. Tangled in the phone and the grass were clumps of blonde hair. It looked as if someone had grabbed Sherri by her hair, dragged her, and ripped the phone from her hand. Sherri was gone. The 911 call and the onset of terror. Keith immediately dialed 911. His voice was trembling with pure terror. "My wife is missing. I found her phone. There's hair on it. I think she's been taken." Police arrived within minutes. Within 24 hours, the quiet city of Redding transformed into a search grid. Helicopters circled above, K-9 units combed the brush, and hundreds of volunteers joined the hunt. The perfect victim and the media circus Sherri Papini didn't look like a typical missing person. She looked like a movie star. She was beautiful, blue-eyed, and had a spotless reputation. Major news networks like ABC, NBC, and CNN made her disappearance a national headline. The media dubbed her the missing supermom. Bring Sherri home posters were plastered on every lamp post. Yellow ribbons were tied around trees across the city. But the police had nothing. No witnesses, no CCTV, and no suspicious vehicles. Suspicion and the GoFundMe controversy. Soon, the internet's dark side emerged. People began to suspect Keith. Social media was flooded with theories. Did the husband kill her? Police put Keith through a polygraph lie detector test. He was a broken man, but he passed with flying colors. He was innocent. Meanwhile, Sherri's family launched a GoFundMe page. Sympathetic strangers donated over $49,000 to help find her. But some skeptics started whispering, was this all for the money? The family dismissed the claims as cruel rumors. The Thanksgiving Miracle. November 24, 2016, Thanksgiving morning. Just as the sun was rising, a motorist on a highway in Yolo County, nearly 150 miles from home, saw something surreal. A woman was running frantically along the side of the road. The driver pulled over and was horrified by what she saw. It was Sherri Papini. Her face was bruised, she was emaciated, and she looked like a skeleton. But the most terrifying detail? Her hands and feet were bound in chains, and a heavy metal chain was padlocked around her neck. The hospital statement. 2 masked women. From her hospital bed, Sherri told a harrowing story. She claimed, 2 Hispanic women kidnapped me at gunpoint. They kept me in a small dark room. They beat me, they starved me, and they branded my back with a hot iron. The story sent shockwaves through America. People were terrified that a female-led kidnapping ring was targeting mothers. However, deep inside the FBI, a small seed of doubt was planted. There were details in Sherri's story that just didn't add up. 4 years of silence. After Sherri's return, life in Reading slowly returned to a quiet hum. Sherri and Keith tried to move on, portraying the image of a family healing from a nightmare. But behind closed doors at the FBI, the file remained wide open. Investigators were bothered by the Swiss cheese holes in Sherri's story. She had claimed 2 women took her, but forensic tests told a different story. They found foreign male DNA on her clothing. If 2 women had kidnapped her, whose DNA was this? And more importantly, it didn't match her husband, Keith. The generic sketches. Sherri worked with police to create sketches of her captors. She described them as Hispanic women, with thin eyebrows and piercings. But when the sketches were released, they were so generic they could have been anyone. The FBI began to suspect Sherri was intentionally pointing towards a specific community to lead the investigation into a dead end. The genetic breakthrough. By 2020, the trail had gone cold. Then, investigators turned to the revolutionary technology that captured the Golden State Killer, genetic genealogy. They took the unknown male DNA from Sherri's clothes and ran it through public ancestry databases. After weeks of tracing family trees, they got a hit. The DNA belonged to a distant relative of a man named James Reyes. Suddenly, the FBI had a name. The Confrontation in Costa Mesa. In August 2020, an FBI team descended on Costa Mesa in Southern California. They intercepted James Reyes. James didn't look like a kidnapper. He looked like an average, unassuming guy. When agents asked about Sherri, James didn't run. He opened up. "I didn't kidnap her. She called me. She told me her husband was abusive and she needed to get away." 22 days of leisure. James revealed that during those 22 days, Sherri wasn't chained in a dark basement. She was living in his apartment. She spent her days watching TV, eating her favorite foods, and even going for walks. But the most disturbing part was how she planned to make her kidnapping look real. Hockey pucks and hot irons, self-inflicted horror. James testified that Sherri begged him to hurt her. When James refused, Sherri took a hockey puck and began hitting herself to create deep, dark bruises. She cut her own hair. And the brand on her back? Sherri forced James to go to a craft store, buy a wood-burning tool, and burn a mark into her skin. She wanted to make sure that when she returned, the world would see a victim. The staged return. When Sherri decided she missed her children, she told James to drive her back. James helped her tie herself up in chains to make it look authentic, and on Thanksgiving morning, he dropped her off on the side of the highway. James's confession completely stripped away Sherri's supermom mask. It was finally time for the FBI to sit Sherri down and confront her with the truth. The cold truth in the interrogation room, August 2020. The FBI called Sherri and Keith in for one final round of questioning. The investigators finally had what they needed: James Reyes's full confession and the undeniable DNA match. Sherri was sat down in a small windowless room. At first, she stuck to her script. She cried, she trembled, and she spoke about those 2 Hispanic women who kidnapped her. Then, the lead investigator slid a photo across the table. It was James Reyes. Investigator: "Sherri, we know where you were for those 22 days. We've already talked to James." The color drained from her face. She tried to deflect, but once they explained that the DNA on her clothes was a 100% match to James, the supermom facade shattered. The years of acting were over. The ultimate betrayal. Outside the room, Keith Papini was waiting. When federal agents told him the truth, that the wife he spent years protecting and mourning was actually lounging at an ex-boyfriend's apartment, he was catatonic. Keith asked, "Is this for real?" When the agents confirmed it, he walked out and never looked back. He filed for divorce shortly after. He hadn't just lost a wife. He realized the mother of his children had made him a national laughingstock. justice, and the fallout. In 2022, Sherri Papini was officially arrested and charged with mail fraud and lying to federal officers. In court, it was revealed that she didn't just lie for attention. She used the $49,000 from her GoFundMe page to pay off her personal credit card bills. The sentence: Sherri was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. Restitution: she was ordered to pay back over $309,000 to cover the costs of the massive search and investigation she triggered. Conclusion: the dark side of attention. Sherri Papini is out of prison now, but she remains a permanent stain on the history of true crime in America. Her story is a haunting reminder that the hunger for clout and sympathy can lead someone to burn down their entire life and the lives of everyone who loves them. The Sherri Papini case is a haunting reminder that no matter how deep you bury the truth, it always finds its way to the surface. If you found this deep dive intriguing, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories that will keep you up at night. Also, let me know in the comments which case you want me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.